everyone, and welcome to the show. This is Ashima, your host and your property matchmaker. Today, we are going to discuss about the most powerful tool for investors, which is mortgages in Dubai. So, joining us today, Amit Nainani. He's the sales director of one of the leading mortgage firms here in Dubai, and that's Line Mortgage. Welcome to the show, Amit. Thank you so much for taking out time.
Thank you, Ashima, for having me on board. Very happy to help you and let everyone know how mortgages work in UAE, because people want to buy a property, but mortgages, everyone doesn't know it very well versed. So it's happy to share so everyone can understand and make the best out of it.
So Amit, let's start with the basic, that how you started your journey in mortgage industry, your experience. So let our viewers know about this.
I'll just give you a small summary. So I've been here in UAE since 2004. Initial 17 years I was working with the banks, and there I was handling mortgages. So I've managed teams in the bank as well for selling mortgages. And then I joined this company called Line Mortgage, which has been there for good 11 years. We do mortgages and we are directly listed with all the banks. So our core strength is any client who needs assistance in mortgages. We have a team of mortgage advisors who go and help them and advise them. That's what we do.
Oh, that's amazing. Let's start with the basic things, that how does mortgage works in Dubai? How different it is in Dubai compared to other countries?
So mortgage also has a synonym called home loans. So every bank uses a different terminology. Some call it mortgage, some call it home loans. So the simple terminology is anyone who wants to buy a ready property can get finance on it. The bank takes their income document and understand how much is he eligible for, and accordingly they do the mortgage loan or the home loan for them.
The pre-approval.
Initially,
Yes.
it's a pre-approval. Then a client finalizes the property, shows the property document. The bank does a valuation. Then the bank issues a final offer letter. Loan is booked. Then we get an NOC for transfer from the developer, that the property can be transferred from the seller to the buyer. We go to the trustee office and the transfer takes place.
Okay, that actually sounds very simple.
Yeah.
Like the process is not too complicated. A lot of my investors, they have a very common question. Like they are non-resident, they do not have a job here, they do not have any kind of business in Dubai.
Okay.
So still they will be able to get the mortgage?
There are banks who finance up to 60 to 65% for a non-resident client. So if, let's say I'm based in UK, I have a job there or I have a business there and I want to buy a ready property in Dubai, the banks here can take my income documents, my personal account where I'm getting the salary, or an account which has my savings, and derive an eligibility and give me a loan. That's pretty much possible.
Okay, and it is only for the ready properties, not for the off-plan?
As of now, the banks are focusing more on ready properties. There are some banks who have recently started doing financing for off-plan, but that is all project specific. And important is that the current owner, let's say if Amit has bought a property in a particular project, Amit has to pay 50% to the developer, then Amit can sell it to someone.
Okay.
So the bank will finance when the new buyer is buying after 50% payment has been done.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is currently a new product on the shelf. It's been there for last 3 months. So traction will increase when there are more clients or more projects where the current owner has paid 50% and then he's looking at getting a premium and selling the property. So the new buyer can get a finance on it.
Okay, this will actually attract a lot of investors globally.
Correct.
If people will start getting a mortgage on, say, off-plan properties also.
Correct.
But so why people will go for mortgage where they end up paying interest rather than paying installments to the developer? So there will be a price.
I'll tell you that there are 3 scenarios. Now, if someone is paying a rent, now rents have increased after COVID. If you look at an apartment rent or a villa or a townhouse, rents have increased. So the reason people are buying it because they feel that if they can accumulate the 20 or 30% down payment, then that asset is with their family for long term. So if a couple buys a house, they have young children, tomorrow, even if the children go out for study, when they come back, there is an asset available. So they can sell it after 10, 20 years rather than paying rent for 20 years. So buying is still a sensible decision in any part of the world.
Okay.
And UAE is welcoming everyone. So we want people to come and make UAE as their home. So then buying makes more sense. Second, when you buy off plan, you get part payment plans. There are developers who are giving post handover plan also.
Right.
But clients still can't accumulate that much money at that stage. So there are payment plans where I buy a 4 million house. After handover, I have to suddenly give 300,000. If I'm a normal salaried client, I can't arrange 300,000 every 6 months with my salary. Or take a, even if I get a bonus, I can't arrange. So it's always better that you take a loan, you pay a small monthly installment, you're paying interest. But then whenever you have access cash via bonus, via incentives, via commission, you may get inherited wealth in future from your family. You can use it and run down the loan. So not necessary people who take loans for 20 years, pay for 20 years. In 5-10 years, they knock off the loan.
Right. They do not want to stretch for
No one
that
pays
long,
for
but
that
it
much
is
long.
only for the installment amount, so it will reduce.
Yeah.
So they take 25 years tenuity.
Correct.
Okay. So now let's talk about commercial properties, how commercial loans differs from residential loans.
So commercial properties include office space.
Right.
Okay. It includes warehouse. It includes, you can also count labor accommodation as well. But office space comes under retail lending. So if you are a businesswoman today, you have a real estate business, you want to buy an office space for you, you can take a loan on it. Tomorrow you want to buy a warehouse, you have to have that much business set up because warehouses happen under the SME lending. It doesn't happen under retail lending.
Okay.
SME lending is like your small and medium enterprise division, which is like a semi-corporate. Labor accommodation comes under corporate, where people can finance a labor accommodation either for their business or for investment. But in those cases, they need to have a proper business setup by which they can repay the loan. So all these products are more specific and more suitable to self-employed clients. A residential, a salaried customer, let's say like I'm salaried today, I work for a company, I have a fixed salary. I may not be excited to buy an office space or a warehouse or a labor accommodation because it's not within my bandwidth to understand those dynamics, because I'm not a businessman myself. So I will not know how much will a warehouse pay me rent, how will I manage the tenant and all that. So that's why.
What are the interest rates?
A residential client who's taking a loan, the range of the interest rate is between 4 to 6. Okay, for a resident who has income in UAE. A non-resident gets between 5 to 6%, depending, because his income is outside UAE. This is for residential property. The commercial property is only done for residents. Banks don't finance commercial property for non-residents. And that pricing is between, you can say 5 to 7.5.
Okay.
Depends on bank to bank and the client profile.
Okay. Who are eligible to apply for commercial loans?
Resident customers who have income in UAE can get commercial loans.
Expat definitely cannot.
Non-resident, you can try as a deviation or as exception. But banks are more happy doing it for a resident client.
Okay. Kind of tenuity people get in commercial properties, and what kind of repayment structure is there?
Now, if you're doing a loan under retail division, the bank can give a loan for 25 years on a commercial space. But if you're doing under an SME or a corporate, then the tenor could come between 7 to 12 years.
So for retail space or office space, it is more compared to SME loans.
Correct.
Okay, now let's discuss about the equity loan. So if a person, first of all, we can start with what exactly the equity loan is, and then we'll jump into who are eligible for equity loan, a resident, a non-resident, and how does it work?
So equity loan has been termed as cash out, you call equity release, or you call refinancing. All three mean the same, which mean a client is having a property. He's telling the bank, this is a fully paid up house. You mortgage it and give me money either to buy another property, either to pay for my existing handover payment for a property, or I'm constructing a villa, please pay to the contractor for construction or buying a plot, warehouse, anything. But what is important to understand is not every bank is comfortable putting the money in client's bank account, because they want to monitor the end utilization of the money. The issue is in the past, people have misused that, which means if today I had a 5 million house, let's say fully paid up, I told the bank, mortgage it, give me 3 million in my account. When I have 3 million in an account, which is not monitored, I can put it in Bitcoin, crypto, stock market, invest in a property in my home country, which is not the right way. The objective of that lending is it should be utilized within the UAE real estate market.
Okay.
So that's what is critical. There are banks where if you are giving them a proper document that this is a business requirement, which can happen under SME, where I have a property and I'm telling them that I will mortgage this house and you give me money and pay to my suppliers, pay in buying me a bigger space or, paying for a certain guarantee for a construction, whatever, that can be done under SME or corporate. That's also possible.
So that is possible.
Yeah.
That's nice. Now, people can they mortgage the whole building?
People can mortgage the whole building also, but that comes under something called as lease rental discounting. So if there is a building which is, let's say, costing 20 million and the rental is 2 million. So any client who wants to buy that building has to share the rental income documents to the bank of the current owner. So the bank will evaluate that this much rental is coming in, and on that basis, they will give him financing. It won't be more than 60%, but that is possible. He puts his own cash, and the bank may keep property management company to manage the rental, because they want to be secure that when they are doing a finance on a building, so there is a separate property management company which manages all the rental, because by that he's repaying the loan.
So that will be referred by the banks, and the person who is taking a loan, he cannot hire a property management company, or if he has his own team who can manage the building.
He can do, but subject to bank approval. 90% of the time, bank wants to give it to a separate entity where there is no conflict of interest.
Okay.
Yeah. To avoid any misuse of any rental income or any other document.
Okay. So, Amit, tell me one thing. Why, so if I need a loan tomorrow, why will I approach a mortgage company instead of approaching banks directly?
So I'll tell you right now, Ashima, there are around 14 banks in UAE who do mortgages. For an individual client, it's a lot of time and effort to visit or check on 14 banks. So that work can be done by a mortgage broker. And the value add a mortgage broker brings in it, mortgage broker is well versed with all the 14 bank policy. So if he meets a client, he can tell that client ki you are eligible for maximum loan amount in a particular bank. You will get the lowest interest rate in a particular bank. So that helps his research and homework, time and effort. Plus, a mortgage broker handholds the whole transaction from the time you apply for a pre-approval till the transfer is completed. He keeps on assisting the client. So that service is a good service for any client who's buying a house. Important is to do it peacefully and not stressfully. Because you're buying it with your family to live for future or investment. But if you are stressed with your bank because of delays and all, then you get unnecessarily troubled. No point.
That's true. Now let's talk about the exit points. When somebody wants to clear off their loan. So how easy it is, what is the process like, and what documentation?
There is a standard rule that if any client wants to settle his mortgage, the bank charges 1% or AED 10,000, whichever is lower. So if my loan outstanding is 800,000, bank will charge me 8,000 plus 5% VAT and close the loan. If my loan is 2 million, they will charge me 10,000 plus 5% VAT and close the loan. So the reason banks have kept it on a lower side, because they want more and more people to buy and sell. A loan should not restrict someone from selling the asset. Because if I'm seeing an appreciation in my property, it should excite me ki, okay, I will sell it. My penalty to the bank is only 10,000. But if I'm getting a good appreciation, let me sell it. I'll buy something bigger. Because in last 4 years, I can tell you, 80% of the people have increased and moved into a bigger property. So someone who was staying in a 2-bed has moved to a 3-bed. 3-bed has moved to 4-bed. They can have reasons whether they have got kids. They have got their parents moved in with them because after COVID, everyone wants to stay with their loved ones, or they have increased their income, so they want a better lifestyle for themselves. But this place or a mortgage loan helps you in increasing your budget also, right?
Yes.
Your income,
and
it
upgrading your
supports you. Yeah.
lifestyle. Okay. So now what's the paperwork involved in this?
So Ashima, I was telling you that early settlement is 1% or 10,000, whichever is lower. This is what the bank charges. Once this is settled, the client goes to land department. He has to pay a mortgage release fee, which is around 1650, and they release the mortgage from that property. Then he has to pay a certain amount of fees, could be 290 or 585, to get a new title deed issued, which will only show the client's or the owner's name. It won't show any bank name. So then this is called a mortgage-free title deed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how many properties a person can mortgage?
There is no restriction.
Okay.
Any client can buy as many properties as he wants. He can mortgage as many as he wants, depending on his income, eligibility. Because even if a bank restricts, assume tomorrow a bank says that we can only give 10 loans to Amit. That is one bank. There is a second bank. If Amit is still eligible, second bank will also give him loans. So unless you are eligible with your income, I don't see an issue. A lender will tell you, sorry, we will not lend you.
Okay. So there is no cap limit on
No
this.
cap limit, yeah.
Okay. And same for the equity loans. Is there a cap limit when somebody is taking a equity loan and now they want to mortgage the second property showing the rental income that they are generating from the first property?
So bank will derive his eligibility on his salary plus add the rental.
Okay.
No bank will only give loan on one property rental. So which means if today Amit wants to take a mortgage, he has one house already paid up with rental. Okay? He goes to the bank and says, I want to buy my second house on a loan. So bank will check if Amit is eligible with his salary, adding the rental income of the first house, which is fully paid up, no loan, and second house, which is purchasing first time on a loan, he can get it. There's no issue.
Should a person go for loan or should go for complete cash down?
Ashima, as per my understanding, if you have cash, it is a good thing. But any wealthy person doesn't become more wealthy by buying things on cash. He becomes more wealthy if he borrows and leverages his cash. So a client can use a part of his cash, buy one property. Okay? Then he buys a second property. That's how he can build up a property portfolio. That would be a much better way. Because if I use all cash and buy one house, I've utilized all my cash. So then I can't buy a second house. I can take a loan, but there is no value add. But if I use that cash and spread it in 3 properties, then I have built up a 3 property portfolio, which is giving me rental. So that will make me more wealthy in a long-term perspective.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. So any common mistakes, what you see people make while taking mortgage?
It's not while taking mortgages. If you genuinely ask me, one important thing which we can tell everyone is whenever they have a repayment, it could be a utility bill, it could be a credit card bill, a auto loan, personal loan, any loan, pay it on time. Because what is happening in UAE is, assume you have got a utility connection done. Okay? Tomorrow there is a disconnect, you cancel that connection. Could be Etisalat, do any service provider. If you don't close it properly, a dispute is open that will reflect in your credit report, and that shows that you're not paying people on time. So it's always important that whatever we borrow, we have to pay people on time, because that shows a history. Right. If people have a trend where they are not paying a small fee and they blame it to the bank, the issue is bank doesn't get impacted. The client gets impacted in long term whenever he wants to borrow. Because tomorrow he goes to a bank and he sees that that small late payment fee which he didn't pay, it's impacted his credit score, then he will never be able to borrow anything. Right. So that shows laziness on his behalf.
So bank, they check credit history of the home country as well if it's a non-resident?
At times when they are lending of a good value, they also tell the client to get a credit report from their home country also. Okay. It depends on what profile the client is applying. So those things are also checked.
Depends on case to case.
Case to case basis.
Okay.
But I'm sure the point that I was highlighting is all residents everywhere, people, resident, non-resident, wherever we have a borrowing, we should be paying them ethically on time, because we should have a clean track record.
Thank you so much, Amit, for joining us and giving your expertise in this. I'm sure it must have helped a lot of people. Everyone, in case you have any questions, you want to get in touch with Amit Nainani, you can directly contact him. We will drop his contact details in the description box. Plus, if you want to get in touch with us, we will be happy to help you out with this.
Thank you, Ashima. Thank you for having me aboard.